Yes.
I'm going to say that.
All right. I guess I should do that. It's now 10 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the November 30th meeting of the Utah Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission. And first of all, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Craig Warr. Craig?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Craig. Next thing we're going to do, we need to approve some minutes. We have minutes from October 26, 2021, November 3, 2021, and November 15, 2021. Assuming that the commissioners have looked at the minutes, do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Moved. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. I have some announcements to make. First of all, our proposed future meeting schedule. Our next commission meeting will be in 3 weeks. It'll be on Tuesday, December 21st. And then in January, we will go back to the last Tuesday of the month, and it will be on January 25th. So in planning to, if you plan to be at the next commission meeting, don't wait till after Christmas. Come the week before Christmas. As far as public comments go, being that this is a public meeting, I'd like to advise those who'd like to make comments on this meeting that they may email their comments to hotline@utah.gov, and the comments will be addressed at the end of the meeting. Also have some reminders about license renewals. Today is the deadline for filing all renewal materials and paying fees for the following licenses, permits, and certificates: the brewer located outside of Utah, liquor warehouse, beer wholesaler, local industry representative, Utah manufacturers, that's brewers, wineries, and distillers, and public service permits. Okay. As those of you who know who've been watching our meetings, we have moved the financial update to the beginning of the meeting, consistent with the way a lot of businesses run their meetings. And so, Sean, if you would not mind, could you bring us up to speed on where we are financially?
Of course. Thanks, Commissioner. What we experienced in October was actually lower than the prior month, but the reason was, than the year prior, was because there were 6 less days, so basically an entire week, when our fiscal weeks and then months also end on Saturdays. We'll have some months with 4 weeks and other months with 5 weeks. Total revenue as compared to last year was up almost $700,000. Average bottles sold per day are well over last year, as well as at about 6,000 per day. And that is in contrast to last year, where it was actually much lower than the year prior. So we have regained over and above last year and even over 2019 as well. Retail sales, we hit year-to-date $175 million so far. Last year at this time, and these are perfectly comparable because year-to-date this year and year-to-date last year is exactly 101 days. And last year's retail sales was $162 million. Quite an uptick in retail sales. Experienced over, so that's for October, but even over November, quite an uptick in sales. Seeing some record numbers for the Thanksgiving week, as I believe Cade will be presenting on a little bit later. What this is showing overall is increased profitability, and of course, a little bit of strain on our retail stores with, some short staffing, but the numbers are picking up, again, to 2019 levels and above, so much higher than in prior years. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Anyone have any questions about the financial? I would like to point out something, and I really should defer to my friend Commissioner Parrish, because this is his observation about how well you've been performing, considering all the increased costs that we've had to go through in the last year. Stan?
No, I agree with that. One point that I would make, thanks, Mr. Chairman, that we did they took a look at a study. There's Kate here. At any rate,
I'm on live today.
Okay, we added 3 new stores in this past year, and if you take the region that the stores are in, you would think expanding one more store in the regions would decrease sales in the other stores, but the overall sales in all 3 regions are up, and so that they were expanded. The sales were expanded, which indicated that it was a prudent decision to move these new stores into underserved markets.
That was the Farmington, Saratoga Springs store, and Taylorsville, a new Taylorsville store. Tom Gibbs actually did a comparison that showed that adding those stores to those market areas did reduce the pressure overall on those other stores, but also increased revenue just on Thanksgiving week by $545,000. Basically, in 1 week, they're more than covering the bond payments. And when I say 1 week, it was 3 days. So it was all days. So that was a good analysis, Tom. Thanks.
Well, that's always very interesting information to have, and I think it's also important that our constituents or the public who really own this particular enterprise that we're in, that we also are facing some of the same problems that the retail and wholesale markets are facing with regard to our delivery costs going up because of fuel costs and our expenses of operation going up because of fuel costs and supply chain issues and the cost of labor. So when you give us a financial report here and show that we are doing well, it appears that a lot of that is because we have to manage our resources, and we continue to manage our resources fairly well.
And to that point, as of last year at this time, we were returning to the general fund year to date $38 million. This year it's much higher at $41 million. So we're on track to. Last year we transferred at the end of the year. That's year to date. At the end of the year we transferred $127 million back to the general fund, not including parents empowered, sales taxes. All those included was $214 million, and we're on track to do much more than that. So thanks for the reference about cost containment, but because we're showing that even though we're spending more, we're still returning more to the general fund and to the local communities.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Any other questions of Sean on our financial? All right. If not, moving on. Doug, Parents Empowered.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, commissioners. At the last commission meeting, I spoke to you briefly about our Parents Empowered annual report, and I apologize I didn't have that report in your hands prior to that meeting, but you now should have a copy of that. It was emailed to you a week ago, and it's a digital copy, but that's where we're going nowadays, is paperless. So I hope you had a chance to take a look at it. If not, please take a little time and scan through it. It's quite a report. I would like to talk about a couple of the highlights that I didn't mention last month, and one of them is it's the metrics that we want to talk about today. And the reason we track those metrics is it helps us to keep our focus, keeps us over the target and progressing forward. So the overarching metric that we look at is underage drinking use rates in Utah. I'm happy to report that all 3 measures of underage drinking in Utah are on a downward trend. And those 3 measures are lifetime use, which means that a person has never tried more than a sip of alcohol in their lifetime. And then past 30-day use means basically regular underage drinking use. And then binge drinking, of course, is excessive alcohol use per occasion. So all of those measures are at all-time lows here in Utah currently. A couple of other metrics that we follow also. Two of them, the legislature actually asks us to track, and that's ad awareness. So we asked the question in our parent survey every 6 months, by the way. We ask them, how often are you seeing underage drinking prevention ads? And that is up 9% since last year. So we're encouraged to see that increase. And then we also ask specifically ads that you see with the word parents empowered. And that's also up 4% from a year ago. So those are metrics that the legislature pays attention to, and we're happy to report those are both up. The other thing we look at are overall media metrics. I mean, we have a full array of metrics that we look at, a full dashboard. One of the things I want to point out is we've concentrated our efforts into more digital media as well as social media. And we've looked at those ratings, and they're also increasing as well. So we know that parents, their media habits, the mix that they look at media is shifting over to digital and more social. So that's where we're putting our media monies now. And we'll keep a look at that. Radio and TV still carry the day, but digital and social is certainly growing. So I'd like to talk more about our report, but given the time, I'd like to just say thank you for your support. And this concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Just a quick comment. I think it's very noteworthy of the fact that we are seeing a decrease in teenage drinking, and frankly, I think you'll be surprised how much attention your ads are getting from young people and their families, because I have actually heard from people outside of my own family who have commented upon that. Commissioners have any questions of Doug? Thank you, Doug. Sure appreciate it. We have an advisory board appointment. Angela?
Thank you, Commissioners. Pursuant to statute, the ABC Advisory Board needs to have 2 voting members, each of whom represent an organization that addresses alcohol or drug abuse prevention, alcohol or drug-related enforcement, or alcohol or drug-related education. And these are commission-appointed positions. Right now, we have Sergeant Mike Holt, who represents alcohol enforcement. Logan Reed has represented prevention and education for several years, but he's not able to continue in that regard. He suggested and recommended Rob Timmerman. I believe you all have seen his resume. In a nutshell, he's currently a regional prevention director for the state of Utah. He's been working in this field for at least 15 years. Seems to be highly qualified, and staff supports and recommends his approval.
Okay. Mr. Timmerman, do you have anything you'd like to say to the commission? I'm putting you on the spot, but I very honored to be part of the advisory. Yeah, unfortunately, because of the fact that we are remote or hybrid, nobody will hear you unless you speak into the mic.
Sure. Just wanted to say very honored to be a part of the commission as a part of the advisory board. Prevention is a passion of mine. Been in it quite a long time. I'm grateful for folks like Doug. I've been a part of the Parents Empowered Work Group for a number of years, and am proud of the work that we do to prevent underage drinking, prevent dangerous and heavy drinking, and just honored to serve. So thank you.
Very good. Okay. All right. I believe we need to approve that. So do I have a motion to approve Mr. Timmerman to the advisory board?
So moved.
Is there a second? It's moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Mr. Timmerman. We look forward to working with you. Administrative rules. Angela?
Thank you, Commissioner. Everything listed under item 8A through G, these rules have gone through the formal rulemaking process. The commission approved them going through that process back in June, and then again in August, because there was one rule that was trailing behind the others that needed some additional amendment to it. The public comment period has ended. We've received no public comments. Nothing about these rules has changed since you last all saw them. So I will leave it at that unless you have questions about any of them specifically. What I am asking for you to do today is adopt them and make them effective tomorrow, December 1st, 2021.
All right, do I have a motion to adopt the rules that are set forth in items A through G, effective December 1, 2021? Moved by Orton. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Tennant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. We're going to move on to item 9, which are violations. Sheila, Paige, can you give us a rundown on these, please?
Yes. As you can see, we have a fairly long list this month. We've experienced a huge uptick in referrals from law enforcement. Right now, there's a stack on my desk that you'll be seeing in the next couple of months. Everything is in order except for numbers 9, 10, and 13, and I would ask that you strike those at this time and then take action on the balance of the calendar.
Okay. Is there anything else? The others are all taken care of?
They are. They've all complied with their settlement agreements and done what they needed to do to get this matter behind them.
Any commissioners have any questions? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve items 1 through 8, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16. Moved by Commissioner Orton. Is there a second?
Randall.
Seconded by Commissioner Randall. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Moving on to item number 10, the transfer of location. Rob Hanson, I believe these are yours, right?
Yes,
Or
this
this
one's
is
mine.
yours?
Yeah. All right, so the Tabernacle, they have a bar license. They did a change of location back in September, where they moved a couple of blocks away. Under the change of location, they have 60 days to open. They weren't going to hit the 60 days. We had the special commission meeting recently where it was extended to this meeting. They thought they'd be open by now, but they still are not. They're asking now to the December commission meeting. They think they'll be open December 10th. Troy and Tiffany should be on the line to explain what they have left to do.
Yes, I think we'd like to hear from them if they are on the line. Troy or Tiffany?
I have to tell them how to unmute the phone. *6.
Can you hear us now?
Ah, yes.
Hi,
Thank
can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, good. I was
What?
hitting #6, not *6.
Ah, okay. That sounds like something I would do. I don't know why anybody else would do something like that. Can you tell us where you're at, maybe a little bit?
Yeah, we've had a meeting with the health department, and we were told that we needed to put a drop-down ceiling in. So we've done that. There were just a few things that we, didn't know whether or not we'd have to do or not, and so we met with them and found out that we do need to do a lot of these things. So we've been getting those taken care of. We'll be ready for another health or for a health inspection probably by the end of this week, Friday to Monday, possibly. And we've got electricians finishing up some of the lighting changes that we've done, and they'll be done by Friday as well. So it's just a couple of those kind of pieces. We've moved into a new kind of space with a different sound system, and we've had to install quite a bit of work in that area, sound booths and things like that. So it's been a project, but we're mostly through it.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I would just like to know what they're looking at as far as the timeline is concerned.
Yeah, I mean,
What can we expect?
See, part of the problem, Troy, is we seem to be the receptacle of a lot of optimism on the part of applicants.
I'm sure.
And
I'm sure.
we know that there are difficulties with getting contractors out, labor, supply chain, and I frankly think what we are asking you in a nice way is, are you being overly optimistic that you're going to get this open before the next commission meeting?
I appreciate that. I'm 100% certain that we'll get this open before the next commission meeting. We have a big party that's reserved our space, and we're really shooting for that to get that open, and that would be on the 10th. And we have had all of our contractors and all of those kind of things delayed. They're all wrapping it up at this point. So electrical's the last thing that we had, and they're working really hard to hang lights. They've got everything, all of the conduit and all the electrical run. So it's just a matter of actually hanging the fixtures at this point. And they've promised us that that'd be done by Friday. Everything else, the beer lines, the soda lines, everything's been run. It's all set up. We're just waiting for a license to order some beer, and we can start running that. Everything is completed. We have some pictures to hang up on the walls, and everything's painted. Other than just a few final details of putting the chairs out and dusting off some of the dust, we're ready to go.
Okay. How many inspections do you have left that you need to do before you can open?
We just have the health department.
So you got your business license. There's no. What about building building permit and fire?
We didn't have to pull any permits. We didn't make any major changes structurally or anything like that. We just added some lighting and moved some outlets and things like that. And we're in a building where the building's taking care of most of that stuff. So fire, I think we have a fire inspection that we need to have. We're working again with with the building management to take care of some of those things for us. We have all our fire extinguishers. You know, I don't see any problems with that. So a lot of it's the same that the space was in before, the same condition that the space was in before. We've not moved doors or exits or anything of that sort. So I think we're pretty good on the inspection. So it's really just the health department and the fire and just getting that city business license.
Okay. Any commission members have any other questions? If not, I'll accept a motion, if that's the will of the commission, to extend the opening date to the December meeting, which is December 21st, 2021. Moved by Commissioner Orton. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Tui. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Rob, when is his drop dead date that we can no longer help him out at all?
He has a total of, you can grant up to 7 months, so he's just over 2 months, so we got lots of time.
That's a long way out. Okay. Troy, on behalf of all of us, good luck in getting all that stuff put together.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. We've been working hard.
Okay. Number 11, industrial manufacturing permit applicant. Abe?
Good morning, Commissioners. Tall Hat Foods in Orem is requesting the industrial manufacturing permit so they can buy alcohol in large quantities. They'll be making finished soups and sauces, and I visited the facility. They make some sauces now that don't have alcohol, and they have about 8 500-gallon tanks that they make it in, and they chill it, bag it, and then they ship it in chilled trucks around the country. If you have any other questions, the applicant should be on the phone.
Do you have any questions? I'll accept a motion then to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tui. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Orton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item number 12, request for change of license type from full year to summer seasonal license. Craig?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. I have DeFaze Dude Ranch. They are requesting, they currently hold a full bar license. They're requesting to change that to a summer seasonal license. They're aware that the application period and the cost will remain the same.
Anybody have any questions? That means we free up a bar license, doesn't it?
A winter
It's
seasonal.
winter season.
Winter seasonal. Good. There's no questions or anything. Do I have a motion? Moved by Commissioner Parrish. Is there a second? That was close. Is that Commissioner Randall down there?
Correct.
Yes. We'll give it to Commissioner Randall if that's okay.
It's not a competition.
I know.
I'm trying to, fill the void.
I'm actually taking over Vicky's domain. She's
Yeah,
doing the rest of the thing.
Loving this.
Yeah, we just try to keep things moving,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I guess we got excited because there's a bar license. All right. Item number 13, request for change of location. Nicole?
Yep. Alpine Distilling in Park City is moving a few doors up the street, to a bigger location so they can expand their business. The application is complete and staff recommends approval.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Just moving a few doors down.
Yep.
Okay. I'll take a motion. Can I have a motion from the commission? Moved by Commissioner Orton. Second? Seconded by Commissioner Tennant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Move to item number 14, request for second location for hotel bar license. Erin?
Good morning, Commissioners. Grand America is requesting a second bar location, the Laurel Bar. The request meets statutory requirements. Staff recommends approval.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? That one.
Just a comment, the Laurel has been all over my social media, so congratulations to them for all of their marketing success. And I'd recommend we approve this application.
All right, moved by Commissioner Tui. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Orton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving to item number 15, off-premise beer retailer applicants. Stephanie?
15A, there are 6 completed applications. They have all met the statutory requirements, and staff recommends approval.
Okay. What about item B? Maybe we'll probably take them all at once.
Yes, they meet the statutory requirements. I'm just waiting on the business license, and staff recommends approval.
Do I have a motion on item number 15, A and B? Moved by Commissioner Orton. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Tui. I think
That was Commissioner Randall.
Self-conscious. Was it Randall? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know what, Vicki? I'm not going to say names.
How about when you do?
I have to look.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So we move to item number 16, license applicants. Item A is license transfer applications. Margaret?
Good morning, Commissioners. We have 4 full transfer of licenses. Dubai, Salt Lake City is purchased a license from Pete's Bar and Grill. They are moving it to a new location. It is conditional, but otherwise complete. We have the Funk and Dive Bar, which is staying at the same location in Ogden, keeping the same name. And they are complete, not conditional. International Bar in Salt Lake City is transferring its bar license to the Venture 2 LLC.
No.
Yes.
3 was Wasted Space to International Bar.
3 is Wasted Space. It's going to International Bar. So it's the International Bar that's on the agenda for it. So, right. And it is no longer conditional. So it is ready to go. Staying at the same address. Venture 2 LLC is purchased a license from the Tram Bar. And in Sandy, it is in a new location in Salt Lake City. They are conditional. Applicants meet the statutory requirements of conditional or regular transfer of license, so staff would recommend approval.
All right, I have some questions for you. Maybe some of my other commissioners are going to have some questions. First of all, how much did Pete's Bar and Grill sell for?
$20,000.
And on the number 2, how much did that sell for?
5,000.
And item number 3, how much did that sell for?
That's 30,000.
And item number 4, how much did that sell for?
75,000.
Item number 4, Tram Bar was located in Sandy, is that right?
It was located in Sandy. It's being moved to Salt Lake City.
And they moved that to Salt Lake City, that bar
Correct.
license. Were any of the other, now, Pete's Bar and Grill they were in Salt Lake, weren't they?
No.
They're in West Haven.
West Haven. So the bar, they went from West Haven to Salt Lake City. And Wasted Space, where was that?
Downtown Salt Lake.
That was the Salt Lake. So that was a Salt Lake to Salt Lake, right?
Right, it's same address on that one.
Same address on Wasted Space, okay.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I do, Mr. Chairman, that is that, what is the status of Dubai, for example, it said conditional? Or where's the opening on these that are conditional?
Well, they don't have much to do. They moved into a building where they're not doing much change. They have to change the bar itself. It was a restaurant, so it had a sushi bar, so they have to change some of the inside. But there's not a lot of, they don't have a lot of changing to do, but they have some. Venture 2 has got a lot. They are working on it, but they will not be done before probably the 60 days. So they will probably be back with the commission to ask for more time.
Yes, I know you have something
Thank
to
you.
say.
Well, and I think I actually again, I feel like I'm probably not going to be able to plead being new for much longer. I feel like I'm starting to be kind of more of a seasoned veteran, but just so I don't have to pull out my laptop and look at the statute, could staff just remind us how the Transfer Act works in regard to location? So, you know, we've got bars that are moving, bar licenses that are moving from West Haven to Salt Lake, from Sandy into Salt Lake. I'm not even going to pretend that I've got my geography right by asking, like, is it, you know, around county, or are there geographical restrictions?
There are no geographical restrictions for bars.
Okay.
On transfers.
Originally, all transfers had to remain in county.
Okay.
So several years ago, they determined that bars could move
Okay.
between counties, but that's the status of the law right now.
Okay. So the statute.
Pardon me?
Has to be in the county.
No, the other transfers do, but bars can be transferred between counties.
Was there a statutory change that made
Yes, there was a statutory change.
Okay. I guess it's just concerning to me, I guess, that we take so much time thinking about, you know, where we approve applications. And I mean, I'll go on record that historically we've approved these, so I will be voting to approve today, but I just have concern around, you know, all of the kind of thought and policy decision that goes into where we approve applications, but then transfers kind of happen outside of our purview in a way.
That was the reason that the original transfer statute required that they remain in county.
In the county at least, yeah.
But
there was some policy change.
Yeah, there were changes made.
Great. Thanks for that clarification. Thanks for letting me ask a
kind of you had
statutory question.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. We had a little conversation before today, and one of the issues is how many licenses do we have out there that are in that position of waiting to open. There's been a transfer of the license. We've approved it, and they have the period in which to open. Some people open right away. Some people come back and get the entire 9 months from us. So how many do we have out there that are basically not being used and are in this limbo stage? Now, I don't mean to put staff at all on spot, because this only was a 5-minute to 10 hallway conversation, but I think that's an important thing. How many licenses are not producing revenue out there? Maybe we can look into that, but that's another problem with the statute.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd be interested. I know that might take a little work, but if staff, not here, but if you maybe could report to us just how many of those transfer licenses are still, you know, whatever the in transition or whatever we call them. Just because, again, it goes back to, I'm not sure that the commission would grant a license to a bar on our list that says it's going to open in 7 months. And so the Transfer Act, we essentially do that. And again, that's statute right now, and that's what it is. But
there are some issues with that, in that they're purchasing a license, so in order to purchase the license, you would also have to grant that one who sold it to be, closed, probably. So you've got issues.
Yeah, timing, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's good.
Well, we're aware, you know, I think the important thing is all of us understand we have to follow the law.
Yeah.
And if, and the legislature might have the wisdom to make some changes here, but we will follow the law at this point in time. But we're just trying to get an understanding so that as the people who see this, if we're asked the questions by the legislature, we can give them I think, an educated answer. Any further discussions on item A 1 through 4?
I'd make a motion, Mr. Chairman. We approve 2 and 3. We defer 1 and 4 until December meeting.
Is there a second?
I will second that motion so we can vote on it.
That would necessitate, though, that Pete's Bar and Grill, which is closed, and you've given a temporary closure, you'd have to allow them to stay open, or else they would lose the license. So, or you'd have to give it to them so they didn't lose the license. That's the problem with doing that.
All right, the motion is to approve items 2 and 3, correct?
Yes.
Commissioner Parrish, and to defer to the December meeting items 1 and 4. Any further discussion?
Wouldn't we need to vote to extend or are we not?
Yes, you would have to. You'd have to make those adjustments if you wanted Pete's to remain closed. Either way, you're going to have a closed bar license.
Could I ask, just because it's important, have the sales been completed?
Yes.
On numbers 1 and 4?
Yes.
So we would be extending a license for someone who does not own the property.
Yeah.
And is not entitled to have the license.
Yeah, it would mean that it would create a problem, yes. Mm-hmm.
But 1 is conditional, right?
But that's conditional on the Dubai end.
On the Dubai.
On the Dubai, not on Pete's, so, yeah, it would.
Conditional
What has
just
to be
means they
done?
don't have their
They
business
don't have their
license.
business license
But the sale's gone through.
or a final inspection.
Are we approving licenses?
Well, the conditional licenses are that you approve a number of them simply because people are not quite ready. Sometimes it's lengthy, but the statute does allow for almost over a year now in some instances. So the fact that Dubai would have a conditional license would be in keeping with statutory, allowance.
And actually, Commissioners, under the Transfer Act, they only have 7 months, whereas if they were a new licensee, that was conditional, they would have 18 months with an option for an additional 6.
It is much shorter.
Much shorter on the transfers.
Yeah. I think what everyone's concern is of course, is the whole problem of transfers. The fact that, let me just give you an example, and Commissioner Parrish, please interrupt me if I'm wrong. But by way of example, we've all had a lot of empathy for Pete's Bar and Grill because of what happened. Maybe the empathy was misplaced, maybe it wasn't. But in any event, Pete never paid $20,000 for a license. Now he's turned a license into a commodity. So the statute allows for that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sheila, but correct me, the statute allows, the way it's set up now, to actually do that, to turn it into a commodity and sell it. Mm-hmm. But what happens is, as Commissioner Tennant pointed out to some of us, it removes the discretion from us whether or not to actually approve the purchaser, because we don't get the full ability to look into the management, to the location, to the number of seats that they're offering, to the community that they're offering. So there's a little bit of concern that this transfer situation remove some of the discretion that the legislature on other hand wants us to look at. So I think that's why we're really focusing on this particular issue. And then when there's one like number one that's conditional, you know, we don't want to be put in a situation where we approve a conditional license, give them the license, and now they say, you know what, we're not going to make it in 7 months, and then they turn around and they sell it to somebody else.
Actually, they can't. They can't do that. They have to open in that location. They can't transfer the license again.
Okay.
So once the 7 months is up, they are done, and the license would go back into the pool.
And the purchaser does have to meet all of the requirements
do.
for a license.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, the other concern is
Right.
that we're changing the geographical distribution.
I'm
We do.
Commissioner's concerned, but it is in statute. They're allowed to do
Right.
this. I don't think that we, you know, I don't think that we have the ability to really put the stops on this without some assistance.
Commissioners, there's one more matter. Item number 4 also directly impacts item 18A on the agenda because, there isn't that change in ownership, then, it's going to affect the additional sub-license for Snowbird.
Item 4 impacts,
Yeah,
18?
full transfer item number 4, 18A.
Yeah, it would.
Mhm.
It would do both of them, yeah.
okay.
Slam bar location.
Fine with
Right.
that. You're gonna get a new license.
Very
All right, are we ready to vote on Commissioner Parrish's motion?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Appears that the nays have it, the motion fails. And do I have a substitute motion to either items 1, 2, 3, or 4, or as a group?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move that we approve all 4 applications. And, I mean, I will go on record, and as I've alluded to, that I am concerned about some of the kind of weird incentives that this creates. But I think we've historically approved these, the statute allows them. I don't feel comfortable making, you know, just like a major policy change right now, without, you know, feedback from the legislature, or at the very least being a little bit more thoughtful about, how this all works out and the consequences. And so I do move to approve all 4 of these, but, noting my concern around the change in geography, and the fact that it actually puts some of our licenses out of service for, quite a while.
Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Horton. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
It appears that it passes. I will tell the entire commission and obviously the public that we are having a meeting this afternoon of the Alcohol Policy Working Group, and I will voice to our legislators who attend that the consternation that we had at today's meeting with regard to these 4 and some of the issues that are raised with the transfers. You'll note that we now have one transfer that's selling for $75,000. We're beginning to approach California's.
Actually, that isn't the highest we've had, just as a note.
What's the highest you've had, Margaret?
I believe it's 150.
115?
50.
150.
Double.
Is it correct that this tram bar is asking, for, another license down here?
They are applying for a
Replace this license. They
hotel.
sold it for 75,000, and they're
No.
replacing it?
For free.
No. Oh, sub-license.
No,
Oh.
it's a
Sub-license.
separate owner that owns the current location. They're selling it. They'll be out of, Snowbird itself owns the property.
Okay.
Snowbird's gonna
All
put
right.
in their own license at that
Yeah,
location.
that's great
good.
clarification, thank you.
All right, let's move on to the 51% ownership change of entity. Margaret?
Okay, this is Tamara's Restaurant. This is just restructuring their entity. The business will continue to have the same address with the same DBAs, et cetera. It's complete and no issues. It meets the statutory requirements, and staff would recommend approval.
Okay, any questions from the commission? If not, voting on, can I have a motion, please? Moved by Commissioner Orton,
I'll second.
seconded by
Tui.
Commissioner Tui. Any further discussion? Voting on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, off-premise beer transfers.
Boy, these two 7-Elevens, excuse me, are staying at the same address. They, the 7-Eleven, company is actually taking these back. The first one will not be final until December 3rd, and the second one, December 1st, so tomorrow. But based on that, they are complete and not conditional and ready to go, so staff would recommend approval.
Any questions? Not, can I have a motion?
So moved. I'll second.
Commissioner Parrish and seconded by Commissioner Tui. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving to item B, Bar Establishment Applicants. Dan?
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So with the change in the DFAS or DFAS license, bar license type, now we have a winter seasonal bar license available. Currently 13 applications on file here. And out of those 13, excuse me, 3 of those applicants have met the statutory requirements. And those 3 would be the top listed of Fenice, Wasatch, and Trolley Wing. I believe all of the applicants are online to answer any questions the commission may have.
Let me ask you, so Fenice is surrendering a restaurant license is what they're proposing to do, right?
That is correct.
And are they ready to go?
My understanding they are, yes.
And then Wasatch Loft, would that be the one that would be eligible for a winter seasonal?
They could be. It'll be dual licensed. They'll have a restaurant license downstairs and they'll have a bar license upstairs.
Okay. And Trolley Wing and Taylorsville, they're ready to go also?
Yes, sir.
But they'll also be dual licensed, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Now the projected future ones, those are all not quite ready to go, correct?
Correct. Well, with the exception of the Pearl, I believe they're still opening December 1st. I received an email this morning that indicated that.
And so they would be eligible to get a license from us, right?
That's correct.
And where are we with regard to Garage Grill and Harriman? Does that look like that's going to make it this month?
It's still going to be December 31st. I emailed all of the applicants last Thursday, and the snapshot that you should have in front of you is the most updated information that I've received. And as of today, it's still December 31st.
Because what I see on the others, if I'm not mistaken, is they're all beyond December. They're in January and beyond, right?
That is correct.
So the only other 2 besides the top 3 would be items 1 and 2, the Pearl and Garage Grill, correct?
Yes, sir.
And how many licenses do we have?
Just the winter season bar license.
Just the winter seasonal bar
Correct. And that goes from November 1st through April 30th.
Okay.
We get one in December,
Mm-hmm.
and then another full in February?
Yes.
Yes.
Could you remind us, so for the Pearl and Garage, could you remind us if they've applied, like kind of the order of when they applied? So did they apply? Oh, it's in there. Okay. So yeah.
So Garage Grill this is their 23rd month.
Okay.
Pearl, this is their 3rd month.
Okay.
Trolley, this is their 1st month.
Okay.
Wasatch, 2nd month.
Okay.
Fenice, 3rd month.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
Well,
Are any of them interested in a winter seasonal?
I'm sorry.
Are any of them interested in a winter seasonal?
Reaching out to them, I believe that there are a couple of I believe that Wasatch had responded to my email indicating they were, and it's my understanding most of these applicants, Fenice, Wasatch, and Trolley are on the phone so that they can answer any questions the commission may have. Or in person.
Okay. Since we only have a winter seasonal, that would mean that Fenice is really not in a position to take that.
That would be up to them as the applicant now and how they want to operate their business, whether they want.
And my question on these seasonal, the idea of the seasonal was for entities that operate in an area where their business is seasonal, right?
I believe that was the original intent of the license.
Okay, and so, it would seem from that if Trolley Wing Company is interested in the seasonal, they kind of have to demonstrate to us that they are in an area that only has a seasonal business. It's not just a stepping stone to getting in line for shortcutting the bar license, right?
Sure, and I believe it would be the commission's discretion on how they want to issue the bar license.
Okay. We know Wasatch is in a seasonal
Correct.
situation. Commissioner Tui, in your committee meeting, did you have any recommendations that you were prepared to make?
Yeah, first thing I want to say is, I think that we have granted seasonal licenses to non-seasonal types of entities before, so I just wanted to make sure we're aware of that I think we need to hear from the applicants if they would be willing to take it or not. That said, we did discuss this in our committee meeting and made a recommendation of Wasatch, but that, is dependent on if they would be willing to accept a winter seasonal license. And without all the facts, I don't think that we're quite ready yet. So I think we should hear from the applicants if you'd be okay with that.
Let's do this. I'm not trying to play favorites or anything, but let me start with Wasatch since that's the one that you folks had looked at. Is Wasatch here today?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is Sonia Madsen with Salt Lake Brewing Company here for Wasatch, the top of Main Street.
Okay. Ms. Madsen, tell us, when we had our special commission meeting at the beginning of November, I believe you stated you were ready to open at that point in time, correct?
That is correct.
And if we gave Wasatch a seasonal license in this case, how would you be using this license during the winter season?
So as we mentioned in the calls last month, there is some level of sense of urgency that we need for this because we are fielding the inquiries today and last month and still going forward for private events and private parties, holiday events, business events, so that we can meet the business demands of that community up there for all kinds of celebratory events. So we can immediately start booking some parties and some private events in that second space as soon as we have a license granted.
Would your space be open during the winter for regular use, or is this just going to be for party use?
It would be for regular use as well. We have the flexibility where we have event coordinators that are dedicated to planning the events, making sure that everything is in full compliance with the letter of the law. But on the nights that we don't have private events up there, we would be able to open it up to general seating for everyone that is over 21. And we have that flexibility to meet the demands as the waits can get quite long during the winter season up there.
Well, I see some hesitation in your answer to the extent, what I guess I'm trying to get at so the commission can get a full picture here is if we granted you this license and you were using it not only for parties and things of that nature, would you, on the nights that you were not having a party there, would you be part of your business plan that would automatically open for seatings, assuming you have staff and everything, of course, in like, say, the months of December, January, February?
Absolutely. Of course, only for groups that everyone in the party is 21 and over.
Well, that's obviously, yes, we understand that. But what I'm trying to get to, is this something that you have already planned that would be a full-time use facility, so that by way of example, if I came down there on a Wednesday in January and the town was bustling, that and last time I checked, I was over 21, at least age-wise. I would be able to, I would be seated upstairs there, and it would not be told, no, that's just for parties.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. The good news is we were up there over the weekend. Main Street is already packed. It's already got the energy for the winter, so that hopefully is indicative of a strong winter season. And yes, absolutely, the space is in demand, and it will be seated whenever possible with any guest, whether they're just there for dinner with their families or there for a private event.
You have to be dining there? It won't operate just as a bar where you're not required to eat?
We again, we have a lot of flexibility in that space. We do have the bar upstairs. We have 2 bars. We have the one in the loft and one in the tap room. So guests who would like to just come upstairs and have drinks without having to order anything to eat, they can do that. Or we do sometimes get very long waits up there at that location. If everyone's over the age of 21 and would like to dine upstairs, they're welcome to do that as well.
Yeah, I think what we're getting at, we're trying to ascertain in our own minds is that that you folks have actually dedicated this space to being open this winter, not just for parties, but that on the nights that you don't have parties, that would be an area that you would be seating people rather than having them wait out on the street.
Yes, we would. Absolutely. It will be open to the waiting list whenever possible.
Can I clarify something? So currently that space is not in use?
Currently, it is under our restaurant license. So it is in use. It's not used often as the demand hasn't been there for the mud season during the fall. We, of course, just like everyone else, have had some staffing issues. We have not had the demand. We've been able to meet the demand on our main floor downstairs, but it is available for seating on some really busy nights. We'll open it up and staff it under our restaurant license currently.
Thank you.
Other questions for the commission on for Wasatch? Okay, if not, Trolley Wing, I want to come up? Now, obviously, you're ready to open and ready to go. You understand it was seasonal, that would mean that at the end of the season, your license would expire, right?
We do, and that's why we'd like to. I'm Jess Wilkerson, Jeff Creed, Trolley Wing Company. That's why I was hoping to have a minute to sort of explain our current situation.
Yes, please.
And just to kind of bring you up to speed on what we're going through, some growing pains and just building a business in the middle of a pandemic in general. So we, my whole goal with this thing all these 20 years ago is to eventually become a restaurant so we can start widening our demographic and I can bring my kids in my own place. And we've been able to do it. We purchased the old Texas Roadhouse building in Taylorsville. It's an enormous building, but from day one we've designed it to do 2 things. I mean, we know the bar business. That's what we're good at. That's why we've been able to grow the way we have. We sell a lot of food with that. So you guys can remember a few years ago, first time I was up here asking for a liquor license, once I got one, our food sales increased because it was critical to our business. But with that said, we've grown upon that. So with the purchase of this new building that I built out myself, we've been open since September 1st. Numbers are solid. We're operating at about 73% right now through the first 3 months food sales. So it's there. We designed it to do this by bringing on kids and families and also sending out all of our takeout business from the other locations. This was our fail-safe. This was all part of our business plan. So we've designed it in a way that it's completely separate. But right now we're operating as a restaurant with an enormous 21 and over seating section. So it's completely separate from the family section in terms of not just demographic layout, but also the back of the house. All of our liquor is under one lock and key. This was our plan from day one. So what we did not anticipate is the backlash from the community. It is critical that people walk in the door and have a good experience for the first time. We're breaking into uncharted territory for us, and we're learning. With that said, it is very difficult when you've been a bar for 20 years into a new demographic in Taylorsville to keep everyone happy in terms of, sir, you can't walk with your beer. Really ugly, and it's an enormous dining area. Big. We sure wish we could fill it up overnight, but we're also realistic. So what do? We bring in pool tables, take up space, and also another way to attract new customers. Well, after about 2 weeks and a lot of very difficult situations that we put our staff in, that hurts us in lots of ways. We are very, very conscious of the rules. We do it right. We are proactive. We think it through. We ask questions. All of this is all part of our plan, but it's also hurting us deeper than that in terms of the hours allowed to sell alcohol. NFL, for example, kick off at 11. We can't serve a bill till 11:30. I come in at noon. Where is everybody? Not here because they wanted to go somewhere where they could get a beer. Well, the same thing happens in reverse at night. We're cutting everyone off, and they're going somewhere else. So, big undertaking for us financially, and this is all part of the plan. We understand it takes time. We're comfortable operating as a restaurant. We did not foresee the problems that came along with it. So that's why we're here today, to explain that and to answer your question. Yes, very, very aware of that, because we understand if you give us a temporary license, in 6 months, it's going to be really bad. I won't do that to my staff. As much as I want a license, and I really do, a month ago, we met with Erin. I'm not sure if she's here today. Ask how we can possibly take our license from our trolley car. We are that desperate. We are willing to close the trolley car. It's not, of all the businesses in the world to function during a pandemic, that's not one. So as much love as and all the heart and soul we put into it, that's where we're at. We're desperate. So we're in a situation where we looked at the numbers thoroughly. As a company, we're 60-40%, 60 food, 40 alcohol. Well, maybe we can be a restaurant in the trolley car. We looked a little deeper and we realized that the trolley car is actually 50-50. It only makes up about 3.5% of our total sales. So that's not realistic. If we do that, we might as well go out of business. We don't want to do that. So that's why we're here today, hopeful for anything. But if we were granted a seasonal license that occurs in May, sets us up for a possible massive failure.
Well, and part of what I'm thinking about, and, we looking at is, do we give you this so-called, golden light, and then all of a sudden it goes away? Because very honestly, when it goes away, we're going to have other applicants. Some of those applicants are going to be from rural Utah. They're going to be big places, and there's a real strong chance you'd be put in a situation where inadvertently we've hurt your business plan to some extent. So I understand you'd like to have a license as soon as possible, and I understand you don't want to move from Trolley Square. Maybe I'm being overly facetious about it, but after I see my food bill every time I walk out of there, I do think I need to have a drink. So I understand your business issue. But now the real question, and I know we've given seasonal licenses in the past to just regular standalone, but do you have any seasonal business that you can demonstrate will occur during the winter that you wouldn't get during the summer?
Gravy, it's everything. All sports, basketball, everything. But in the summertime, it's just, we just wait for football season. We get through. We've built a couple patios. We're trying to, again, with the pandemic, we're adjusting, we're evolving. We're doing what we have to do to survive. So that's nice, to have some outdoor seating. But no, we're a sports bar, and we need the sales, especially with this new meeting, especially with the loan that we were forced to get. I mean, it's tough right now. Nobody was loaning for restaurants, and we're able to make it happen. But we have a very expensive mortgage payment, and it's hurting us. So the morning, the early sales and the late sales, not having those, it's actually worse than that. It's spread throughout the community. So they act like at the bar, but they're not really. And then all of a sudden we get these negative reviews, and it's hurting our whole company. So we didn't anticipate that, the backlash. We thought, hey, we'll just operate as a restaurant, no big deal. It's 21 over, nobody knows the difference. Well, they do, unfortunately, and it's starting to bite us in the spot.
Do any of the other commissioner members have any questions?
I did want to say thank you for sharing the details of the business strategy here, because it really helps shine a light on the issue of restaurants wanting to have a bar license that I think myself has been missing. So I really appreciate you being very transparent and open about this.
We're all understand this is an unusual step for us, and I think probably for you guys. I mean, we've never gone through this before.
Well,
and I'm sorry, the question that I had too, so with a dual license in your Taylorsville location, you would be looking to have a portion of the premises not be a bar, or the entire premises be a bar?
No, it's in our best interest as a company to still open it up to more demographics, especially out there. We believe there's a demand for a bar, but also family seating.
So you
So I
do
think
still
it's-
want to have that family seating portion?
Mhm.
Okay, got it.
It's really working. It's great. But then we're also finding out, old guys with a bunch of kids don't tip worth a crap. And, you know, so our guys are used to a certain standard, and it's creating weird problems that we just did not foresee. This is the first time for us. So we're learning and we're adjusting. I mean, we have a whole new menu, and the food sales are there. I mean, we've never been worried about the food sales. People come for the food. But we also want to be able to, you know, we've got this reputation that we've earned for a long, long time. I mean, there's certain standards, and now people are so excited to check out this new location, and not only are they having a bad experience, they're telling their friends, and it's just like, whoa, how did this happen?
Just for the record, Commissioner Parrish and I do tip heavily. I think we're up to 5% now.
So what I'm hearing from you today is that you want to pass on the winter seasonal, though.
Well, I don't want to pass. I mean, honestly, we are desperate to do anything. Again, we're ready to pull the plug on the trolley car if we have to. It's that bad. But the question is, obviously, what happens at the end of the time? Now, we've been doing this a long time. This is number 5 for me. So we know how this works. And I've sat there and watched liquor licenses that I coveted, that I knew I had to have, go out seasonal, knowing that's not seasonal bars. Everyone's treated them like a regular bar to buy time. I've watched it happen countless times, and it seems like I understand how the rules are written.
I think we need to realize we've made mistakes in the past, though. That seasonal, the reason they gave us seasonal from the legislature was so that we would actually focus on putting those licenses in areas where have a seasonal activity, such, you know, to keep bringing up like the ski resort areas, but that's a very seasonal area, and so they have no need for it during the summer. So we don't have to waste a whole bar license and put it into a place like Park City or into, well, like St. George in southern Utah is becoming more and more year-round, but still, we're the we wouldn't use a full license for those areas. And I think that's maybe one of the things we have to look at. Are we going to continue to use these seasonal licenses as a temporary thing, or are we going to do what obviously was the legislative intent, was to put those in areas where there's only a seasonal demand?
Well, I think the issue for me is not about a seasonal license. The issue is the lack of bar licenses, and that is it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. We don't have enough bar licenses, and it's literally impacting business owners.
It is, and with all due respect, the last phone call we listened to from Wasatch, there was no mention of they would be willing to give that license back, or whether or not they plan to be open this summer. I know I go to Park City in the summertime, not the wintertime. So do they have any intention of forfeiting that license? And I didn't, no one asked that question.
Well, they understand. I think we talked to them earlier last
month,
looking in, and they understand that. No. But in any event,
This is Monet Mack.
Excuse me. Hold on. Hold on, please. All right. Does anybody have any more questions of this applicant?
I just had a quick question. What is the breakdown of seating with, if you had a bar?
About 30-70. The bar business
but
is
how
what
many
we
seats
know.
does that?
Oh my gosh!
In the bar area.
Okay. Now we're all over. How do we maximize this without cutting our own throats?
Would you be willing to move your trolley, car license to Taylorsville and take the winter seasonal at the trolley?
Wow. Well, it kind of puts us in the same position. The truth is, when a trolley car makes up 3.5% of your total sales, all of a sudden it's not so important to you. And you understand that everything we've got, all chips are on the table on this new location. So I would be willing to risk. But the truth is also, I've thought this through thoroughly. I'd love to be able to operate there as a restaurant, but we just don't have the facility to do it. We just can only make so much food, and that's just how it is. And there's just nothing we can do. We'd have to cut people off. The few customers we have, we would leave them unhappy. So now what do? Do we take this license and just say goodbye to the trolley car, because the odds of getting a club license back from you guys and the trolley car is going to be very difficult. The last one cost me $30,000, and it's just, you do what you have to do, and you learn and you grow. And right now, I agree with you. I think the bigger problem is, why in the heck aren't there more licenses available? And
We all agree with that. You know, trust us, there's 7 frustrated people up here.
I understand, I've done this too many times.
And that's why we have committee meetings ahead of time, and we bemoan it all month, and we explain this to the legislature. This is the constraints that we're working on. So, does anybody have any more questions? Well, thank you. Go ahead.
Commissioner, this is Monet for Wasatch to the Top of Main Street. I do
Yes,
have a
Ms.
few
Madsen.
questions.
Yes, go ahead, please.
So, I'd like to echo the previous gentleman's comments. As you all know, the restaurant industry is dealing with very unique and colossal challenges right now. And I think as everyone is struggling to keep the doors open, and certainly these challenges are just the last thing we need on our plate. But I do think the good news is Park City has done a very good job of marketing themselves as a year-round recreation resort area. And so our peak season is definitely the winter, but we also have a very strong summer season up there now that we didn't used to experience up there. Our mud seasons are not nearly as severe as they used to be in the spring and the falls, but we do have a really strong summer season up there in both of our Park City locations. So I guess the clarification I'm asking is, if we go ahead and accept the seasonal license that is available, do we stay in the queue for the bar license in the future, or will we need to reapply for a bar license so that we're able to meet the demands of the summer market up there?
I don't know any reason why you couldn't be in the queue for a permanent license.
Do that.
Yeah.
I think they usually stay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
No, I will admit I have a bias since I live in Park City. I have a bias. Sometimes I don't know if that's a good bias or a bad bias, but I do see, and it's hard to look outside and believe that we will ever get snow again, but I do believe that we have a lot of tourists that come to Park City, and you can see it, you can feel it. I always joke with my friends that if you really want to do something to hurt yourself, try to go grocery shopping on a Saturday afternoon during ski season. There's just this shows you how many people come to town, and you know, one of the things you hear the buzz in the grocery store is, where's the alcohol? So I mean, these are people from out of the area. They're clearly coming in as tourists, and so that you know, is that way. But you obviously understand, Ms. Madsen, from your other locations, that this would go away after the winter season, right?
Correct. And we're very interested in that seasonal license if it keeps us in the queue for a bar license that will be available to us year-round to meet the summer season as well.
Well, I think that would be for both of the applicants that we've talked to. We understand that. And both, you know, the interesting thing is both of these applicants have got large spaces, and there are market demands a little bit different, but they both have large spaces. Any other questions from the commission?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, I actually just have a comment, if that's okay. So if you have a question, go ahead and ask it.
I actually just want to hear from the other applicants before we move to motions.
That makes sense. Maybe if that's okay.
And the Pearl and the Garage Grill.
Well,
I just want an update.
yeah, Pearl, are you here? Come, why don't you come on up? We only need a brief, because I need to keep the meeting moving along, too.
Mr. Chair, may I just make a quick comment
Sure.
So I think what this all comes down to is it's really difficult, because I'm hearing from Charlie Wing Company a very legitimate need. So they've demonstrated a very legitimate need, but at the end of the day, they've just come onto the queue. And I think when licenses are so limited, you know, some of the criteria that we have to fall back onto is how long have they been in queue, on top of, you know, a couple of other things. And so I look to the Garage Grill, you know, that as another license comes up, they've been on for 23 months. And it's when licenses are so limited, it's hard to deal with a very legitimate situation like Charlie Wing Company. And so it's really tough right now, and hopefully, yeah.
Anyway, would you tell us, I mean, you guys are planning to open in December?
That is correct, yep.
What date?
We're ready today. We've got all.
Who's their compliance officer?
Dan? I've never met him in person.
I'm Dan.
Oh, hi, Dan. Sorry. Hello, Dan.
I believe that Nicole Tarleton is the compliance officer for your location.
Okay. Oh, yes, I'm Jacob Hall.
What seasonal business do you have?
I'm sorry?
What seasonal business do you have?
We're a brand new bar, and we're hoping to get a license.
So you
whether
just
that's
want to use
seasonal or...
you wanna use this seasonal as a temporary till you can get a full license, right?
That is correct, yes.
That's all that's available, yeah.
All
If
right,
if that's the only thing that is available, we would accept it today.
okay. So what I wanna know from the compliance officer is everything really in place? You had,
It notes that we're conditional, but we sent our business license to Dan, last week.
okay.
I do have the business license, I just.
It's no longer conditional?
That's correct.
Again, it's a brand new bar, we're gonna
But have
try
you
to
had
create
your
new
fi-
revenue.
Have
Sorry?
you had your final inspections from the fire department?
Yep. Fire, health, police,
Tables are all set up?
building.
They hired?
Yeah, we have 6 to 10 staff, yeah.
And done all your training?
Yep.
Okay.
3 managers who all have the DABC compliance management training, bird counts, bergs installed, all of that, so.
A little bit ahead because we've come together and.
Any questions?
Where's it located?
917 South, 200 West?
That in that new little area that's,
Central Ninth District?
yeah.
Yeah, it's developing more and more every single day, and it's a phenomenal area. We're really excited to bring more revenue to that area and in general, and we feel like, even us taking a seasonal license would greatly help the, state revenue, so.
At this point.
Any questions?
if it's okay, just thank you for keeping us in the loop. I know you've come a couple of times
Yeah,
and
of
give us the status update, so thank you for doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, can we hear from the Garage Grill, please? Garage Grill here? First month he's missed in 23 months.
On the line.
So weird.
On the line.
Is that still a December date?
That's correct. December 31st is the latest information I received.
All right, okay. All right, then, Fenici. Did I hear from Fenici?
Online?
Because I understand that Fenici is ready to go, right?
That's correct.
And the operation of the restaurant.
Yeah, they're
yes.
operational as a restaurant.
This is the one that'll be surrendering their restaurant license for the bar license.
Okay. They have a restaurant license and right now, so they can serve alcohol.
Currently, yes, and based on the information I received from the applicant, everyone's ready to go, they're trained, the staff's there, and they're just gonna transition over from a restaurant license to a bar license.
Okay. All
One
right,
thing they
members.
would have to keep in mind is that they surrender their restaurant license and then, come May 1st, when the seasonal expires, they would have 0 license.
Right.
But there's
0.
plenty of restaurant licenses
Right.
they could reapply.
Just pointing that out.
And we'll see how long that lasts. Okay, commission members, I think it's time for us to make a choice, and I want to point out that one of our choices would be, of course, the default choice of not issuing any license, at all, but it appears that, you've heard from everybody, and, the only thing I wanted to say is I think it was real important that we maybe get back on track and understand that seasonal means seasonal and has a purpose to it. It's not just a springboard, because if we use it as a springboard, then we won't really be able to service the tourist communities that have this up and down. So, do we have a motion?
I'll go ahead and move that we issue the winter seasonal to Wasatch Loft and Tap Room. Of our,
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Orton, seconded by Commissioner Tui. Is there any further discussion? Not voting on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so the season will be, given to Wasatch Loft and Tap Room, and, everybody else will remain in the queue. And the only thing I would tell any of you folks who are in this business is, it's one thing when we share with the legislature and we have to share with them without a lot of passion. We have to just tell them what the facts are. Any of you may remember Jack Webb, just the facts, ma'am, and that's the way we do it. You folks have the passion of being in the business, and I would strongly suggest to you that you do contact the legislature, and that you do explain to them the business issues that you have in particular, because the arguments I heard from Pearl and from Trolley Wing, I mean, those are things that the legislature needs to hear directly from you. So please, do not hesitate to do that, okay? All right, moving on to item C, full-service restaurant applicants. Rob?
All right, so full-service restaurant applications, we currently still have 55 licenses available, so we still are showing good there. We have 7 applicants here today. The first one, Miyazaki and Murray, they are conditional. And we got 3 Park City restaurants, Tupelo, which is conditional, Big Dipper, and then Park City Brewing, which is conditional. We have Burrito Grande in Roy, Nobi Sushi Bar and Grill, which is in Salt Lake City. And the last one on here that we'll need to discuss is the Olive Garden in Saratoga Springs. They're not projected to opening until August of next year. However, they do have a violation history, so they are required to be here today for this meeting. The violation is they have a sell-to minor June of 2019, which was the Olive Garden in South Jordan. Then they have a very new one. It was sell-to a minor just August of this year at the Olive Garden in Riverdale. So I'm not sure if they're here in person or if they're on the line. Here they are in the back, yes. If you
Would you come on up? We'll take care of you guys first. Tell you what we'd like to hear, we need to hear, is first of all, could you tell us about these 2 particular violations?
Yes.
What occurred?
My name is Ken Little. I'm Director of Operations. This is Darren Lindo. He's a GM in Spanish Fork who will be opening the Saratoga. So the 2 minors that served, they were done with the 2 servers that went through we tipped them in position that day, and they signed our responsible alcohol service for that shift. They refused, they didn't use the tools like the scanners and the things that we have, and that was what they chose to do to violate. We terminated both team members.
That's something they refused to use the scanners?
Well, they didn't use the scanners. They're available for them, and we audit to make sure that they do those things. They didn't do it at that.
But now they're not. So are you saying that they just decided they just weren't going to?
Those team
casually
members chose, they did not do the practice that we had tipped them in that position.
And nobody noticed that
Well, at that point, they didn't, yes. And now we have a practice that we do audit them, and we go through that, and we have terminated team members for not using that.
Gotcha.
You don't have a system where people have to enter the date of birth before the alcohol can be...
Yes, we have a POS, so when they go to put it in the system, it also reflects the date of birth. Need to be 21.
I didn't catch it.
They did, well, apparently, yes, the team members still did not,
I mean, we have this happen. People come before us and we hear this same story. And the only problem is I may have to recuse myself from this issue because I've seen what happens in a couple of Olive Gardens. There's an Olive Garden on 13th East that I used to go to quite a bit, and I did see people being offered alcohol without any check who were in my party. And they're offered the alcohol. It wasn't the person ordered it, they were offered it. So the vote, I may have to recuse myself on it because I've seen it happen at Olive Garden. I've also frequented Olive Gardens in other states where there's a company policy where they carry the bottle of wine to the table and ask if anybody wants it. So I guess what I'm a little bit concerned about, because we've had other, my term on the commission, we've had the Olive Garden come up on several occasions, is I'm kind of concerned when we see 2 violations like this, if there isn't a cultural issue which needs to be addressed specifically here in Utah.
well, again, we go through every day, and Darren can testify, he does operations every day. We tip them in position, we go through the training, they all understand the ramifications are if they fail to do so, which is even, time. And again, choose not to do that, I know that, but we do make sure that we review it with them daily. And, they sign the agreement daily.
Anybody else have any questions?
I just want to make clear, you terminated the employees involved in both situations.
Oh, yeah, and we've terminated team members that we have found in audits.
Yeah, I just terminated an employee that did not scan an ID because they said they knew a person. The person was 30-something odd years old. But our policy, or you're terminated.
You have the managers double check.
So in my restaurant, I run the Spanish Fork location, and I have locations. Olive Garden. Our passion is to alcohol, and we follow a very high standard when it comes to training. We have quarterly training. We have daily. We have to sign up for daily policy. We do. We're required to use scanners. We have scanners throughout the restaurant. We have birthday control on the POS system. So we talk about it all the time, and we talk about ramifications and what will happen to you, and the seriousness of if we violation or it's a violation, but it's just a reminder. I have 6 kids, and to me, it's absolutely absurd. You can't do it. It's my passion. In the 16 years I've been all over Salt Lake with Olive Garden, I've never had a violation. I've always put it in our company, the state. And we do it really well. I mean, in this couple of instances over the last 3 years, the 2 violations, it's out of the norm. It's out of everything I know of Olive Garden and everything.
Well, okay, now let me ask you this other question. This location's not proposed to be open until August 22, correct? So we could defer on this today in any event, and hopefully, you folks could keep us up to speed on it, and you won't have any violations between now and when it gets closer to opening. So that would be a possibility, would it not, to go ahead and do that, to move this one from approval now and just keep it in abeyance until we get to closer to August?
When does the 2019 roll off?
It won't roll off until they stop having violations.
Yeah, you have to go 3 years with that.
Yeah. So they're gonna have a violation as late as.
3 years.
Nope, you have to go 36 months
Out.
without a violation.
Oh, wow.
They do not fall off.
So they will have these 2 violations on even as late as, the July meeting. So that's not gonna go away. The only question would be, would they accrue any more violations?
And are you applying now because corporate is looking for some
Because
assurance that you would?
Yeah, that we have the license when we build the.
Okay, well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at items number 1 through 6, Rob. I see you've got 1, 2, 4, and 6 conditional.
Correct.
The others are ready to go. Are there any issues with 1 through 6? Okay. Doesn't Park City Brewing already have a license?
No, this is a brand new location.
Oh.
They do have a brewery license. They plan on getting a package agency in the.
Any, so do I have a motion to approve 1 through 6 with 1, 2, 4, and 6 being conditional? Moved by Commissioner Orton. Is there a second?
I'll second. Go ahead.
Randall, who seconded?
I think it was Commissioner Parrish, actually.
Oh, okay, we'll give it to Commissioner Parrish. Further discussion? Voting on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, on number 7, would you be interested in just continuing this out for about 2 months?
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure what else they could be doing. I agree that the violations are concerning, and it sounds like they've done everything. They've even fired employees preemptively without SBI being involved or without receiving any sort of violation. And it's really on them, because I think if they get another violation, they're in big trouble, right?
Well, it kind of depends if it happens at like,
Right.
Not to the overall licensee, the location, okay?
Yeah, each license stands alone. They
Oh.
don't have, a master license. And, of course, because they're a chain, you have to kind of look at the corporate structure and what the climate is. But each license would be handled, individually.
It seems to me we have 55 licenses right now, and without prejudicing them yet, dealing with the fact they do have these violations, and they're not ready to open. You know, one of the problems is that means we have a license hanging out there that we granted, we have no more discretion with, and we can't do anything with, and it's not generating revenue, but they're not open until August. It would seem that this might be a little premature.
Rob, is this the ones that they haven't even broken ground, it's just bare land?
that's correct.
Mr. Chair, I mean, I guess I can see from a corporate standpoint, though, if you're an out-of-state company, large out-of-state company, that having the license in advance is helpful to your business plan and shows some guarantee of, you know, a sizable investment in the state. So I'm thinking about that. But then on the other hand, I'm seeing, I think, Tupelo, I'm pretty sure that's a franchise, and they've just come on July, so maybe I'm arguing against myself. But that's what I'm trying to kind of figure out, you know, how do we treat these larger out-of-state entities looking to do investments in the state?
I think that the last time we dealt with an Olive Garden situation, our primary concern, which you alluded to, was that, you know, we were concerned that there was a corporate structure that differed from our norms and our statutes, you know, and it was really helpful to hear from you about the sorts of things that you're doing to try to accommodate Utah law and Utah standards. I think it's just that in other places where the laws are different, Olive Garden operates very differently. And so I think that, for me anyway, it is helpful to know that there is a clear understanding with management here in Utah that Utah law is different.
Maybe what we could do is defer it for 1 or 2 months, and have the compliance committee kind of look at maybe giving us some guidance about Commissioner Tennert's concern about businesses that invest versus starting to have licenses that are already committed out there. And as Commissioner Tennert pointed out earlier, that we don't even know how many there are that are licensed and sitting there not earning us revenue. And that maybe we take because it won't hurt them probably at all. They're going to open this business anyway.
Right.
As they mentioned, their passion is food.
Right.
So at least it would give us a chance to look at this thing a little bit more in detail instead of being reactionary. If that's an interest of the commission, I mean, I'd take a motion to put this on calendar either in December or January.
I want to approve it, so.
For 1 month. Get a little, I mean, the kind of motivation would just to get a little bit more information.
I would second that.
Oh, seconded by
Could
Commissioner
I
Ward.
suggest that you move it to January, simply because you only have 3 weeks for the staff to gather that information you asked for?
I mean, could there be clarification perhaps from Olive Garden that is helpful by December so that we can make a more informed decision?
Oh, that would, 3 weeks is, I mean, it's kind of a compromise between being way out there, and it also puts a little pressure on us just to do something.
I would agree with this.
That way we have to do something.
For me, it's not so much about, I mean, we'd love to hear more from you, and thank you for your comments. Actually, they make me feel a lot more confident, about, you know, making sure these violations don't happen in the future. I just think, for me, it would just be maybe helpful to have a little bit of information on balancing the needs of the business, you know, just internally how we think about balancing the needs of the business.
I have a motion and a second to move it to December. Any further discussion? Voting on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I only heard two voices, is that right? Horton and,
Aye.
all those opposed?
No.
I heard one. Where are you, Commissioner Randall?
I said yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry, I apologize.
I think I,
Okay.
did I?
All right, so, and I'm going to not vote on this one. So anyway, that passes. This will be put on to December. And I would strongly encourage us to, really look into this situation and, see what we want to do, both to balance what's been brought up by Commissioner Tennant and Commissioner Tui versus the violation history we have with Olive Garden. And I don't know how many commissioners were here when we had a presentation by Olive Garden. It was a corporate presentation with slides and everything, but down this road a little bit with Olive Garden. Okay, limited service restaurant applicants. Nicole?
Yes, we have 85 available, and we have 6 applicants. Pastry Pub in Cedar City is conditional. Peddler's Cafe and Catering in Eden is no longer conditional. They are good to go. Lawn Thai in Ogden is conditional. Umami Japanese is conditional. Pretty Bird in Park City is conditional, and Public Coffee in Salt Lake City is conditional. All applications are complete, and staff recommends approval.
Commissioners, any questions? Not, I'll accept a motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, with 2 being the only one that is not conditional.
Make that motion.
Moved by Commissioner Tui. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Randall. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Carries. Item E, hotel applicant. Bonnie?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. It is still morning, so we're good.
We're trying.
We have one applicant this month. It's Deer Valley Resort. Application is complete. They meet statutory requirements, and staff would recommend approval. They will relinquish all their current licenses once they receive the hotel license. 6 restaurants, a banquet and catering, and a beer rec.
I was only disappointed to see that they didn't have a bar license.
Yeah. That may come later.
Honestly.
Well, they may apply for a sub-license later down the road, but, yeah, they don't currently have
So
one.
they're basically just kind of trading out their licenses. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions from the commission?
Can staff remind us how many hotel, licenses we have left?
I think there's like 45.
49.
Okay.
We have a couple left. All right. Any other discussion? All those, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make the
Deer Valley.
motion
Okay. Is there a
to
second?
approve.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Randall. Voting on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Go up there this Saturday, maybe go skiing.
Thank you.
Okay, item F, reception center applicant. Anita?
Good morning, Commissioners. We have one applicant at Sugar Space. They were previously licensed. They let their licensing lapse during the pandemic, and they're just reapplying.
Okay. How many reception center applications, how many reception center licenses do we have?
We will have 2 left after this.
Any questions from the commission?
Staff recommendation.
You recommending approval?
Yes.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Parrish. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Tui. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to restaurant beer-only applicants. Rob?
All right, so we have level 2 in Midvale. You might remember these guys came before us several months back when they applied for a beer recreational license. They're the football bowling establishment. I believe we have representatives here. If you want to come up, I'll explain what their process is. So this is a restaurant that is in the back of the building. It is clearly defined, delineated. They do have the football bowling, and they also have axe throwing, which are in the same building. So
I understand, we've, looked a little into this individually. I understand, if I could summarize it, basically, you have a restaurant operation that you have, in which you plan to sell beer, and then you have kind of arcade area, so to speak, and then in a separate area that's completely walled off is where the axe throwing will be, right? And in order for me to be able to go and start axe throwing, if I go to the restaurant and I order food and I can go then go axe throwing. But if I order a beer, I'm going to get a wristband, I'm going to get a hand stamp, and the computer's going to show that I've had a beer before I try to walk over to the axe throwing, right? Have I summarized it well?
Yeah, correct.
So in other words, there's 3 opportunities to catch somebody if they were to want to go axe throwing with their ex-girlfriend after they've gone to the restaurant and had a few beers, right?
Yeah, and in addition to that, we'll have signage.
It's my understanding you also have a reservation desk?
Yes.
And are reservations required to do axe throwing, or can you come from the other side?
Yes, because you have to fill out a waiver beforehand. Well, somebody can make a reservation, no, like, required time period per se, but yeah.
So you basically have a restaurant, like any other restaurant, no alcohol goes out of the premises.
You state your names for the record, for Vicky, and for the record.
Yeah, I'm Matthew Lee.
And just for your reference, Commissioners, you may recall that when they were here last applying for the beer recreational and they were turned away, you did advise them to work with staff. We've been working with them extensively and toured the facility, several of us, and so I feel like we've come up with a solution that supports their business model, but it also is compliant with statute.
My understanding is, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat this, but you are impressed with their business plan.
I think a lot of it does come down to the RASP. They're being very cautious and responsible about this, where they're not allowing axe throwing after someone has consumed beer. So I do feel that RASP is one of the things that makes all the difference.
Any other questions? All right. Do we need to hear from Mariscos?
No, staff recommends approval for
You guys can go ahead and sit down. Thank you so much. Thanks for working with the staff the way you have, too. Okay, do I have a motion to approve items number 1 and 2?
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion, and just a comment on level 2. I also appreciate them taking our comments and working with staff to come up with a path forward. I know it's not easy, and I appreciate the time and investment they've made to make it work, and did want to point out that there will be no axe throwing while drinking, and they've even gone the extra step of making it after drinking, which is not required. So I want to make that motion to approve 1 and 2, and also thank level 2 for their considerable work.
Do I have a second? Okay, moved by Commissioner Tui and seconded by Commissioner Orton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving to extended closure requests. First one, Dan, you've got Beryl and Stave and Logan.
Yes, so Beryl and Stave and Logan had a transfer that was completed in September, so they're currently on a 60-day closure, and due to some unforeseeable plumbing issues, they're requesting a continued closure until the January meeting.
Okay. So they have, from September, the maximum time that they would have would be up through April 28th, right? Okay. Since there are separate compliance officers on there, let's take item number A. Is there any questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Tui. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Orton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number B, Nicole, you have that one, and it's Triple Peaks Grill in Ogden.
Yeah, Triple Peaks Grill in Ogden burnt down after the transfer. They have gone through Harrisville City and got all the building permits. They are requesting into the March commission meeting. They plan to open at the beginning of March.
How long do they have
The
left?
drop dead date is the April 28th.
They're also
as well.
April 28th, right? And you recommend approval?
I do recommend approval.
All right, do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Parrish, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Randall? I know it sounds weird, but my old ears almost hear the two of you alike.
Okay.
I apologize. All right, voting on the motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Let's move on to, Pete's Bar and Grill in Ogden.
We can strike it since, the transfer was approved.
We'll
Thank
go to
you.
item D then, which is the Tram Club, in Salt Lake City.
We can strike that as well.
Yeah, we can, can't we? And then we go to item E, which is Milk in Salt Lake City, or somebody's recently told me the way you spell milk in Utah is M-E-L-K, because that's the way you pronounce it. Anyway, Mike? And Mike, are you on the line?
I'm here for Mike.
Okay.
Milk was given, 7 months on May 25th. Their deadline is December 25th. They plan on opening on December 18th. But because of all the delays they've had, they, want to extend till, December 25th. They know if they don't open by the 25th, they lose their, club. And I think they're here if you want to.
My question, Abe, is if we give, do we want to give them only until the next commission meeting on the 21st? Can't do anything really beyond that. That's kind of, if you're not open the 21st, I don't know how you can open on the 25th.
That's why they want, they want to extend it to the 25th. So if they don't open, they lose their license.
So who's gonna check them?
Yeah, Christmas Day.
I will.
Abe's gonna drive there Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day, I will drive it.
I guess I get stuck with that, don't I? Okay.
Are you going in and having a milk?
Yes.
Well, I guess, and maybe this is not important, but I mean, we have a commission meeting, and, you know, as far as keeping track of it, I think we'd want to know on the 21st if what's going to
Okay,
happen.
I'll ask them to come on the 21st
And it's
to
a
see if
bar
they're open on
license.
the 18th.
And very honestly, it's a bar license, okay?
I want
And-
that Christmas gift.
Right?
Only I want them to open even more, but
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I think we should make the motion until the 25th though, because if we make it until the 21st, we're gonna have to extend it again if they're not open, or we'll be artificially like
Well, the
taking their license if they were going to open on the 22nd, for example.
Here's the thing, if on the 21st of December, come in with pictures, and we see that there's not tile on the floor, there's not a lot of stuff that the trades have to finish, that's not gonna get done between Tuesday and Saturday. And we would know, and then these other folks who are desperately waiting for a bar license, we could address it at that point in time. I mean, it's gonna be pretty apparent, I think, on the 21st. Otherwise, if we extend to the 25th, we won't have that license until January.
So we're gonna take away 4 days
Well,
from them.
I think they're gonna have to be honest with us at that point. They have to step forward, and they've gotta be honest with us. And if they stand here and they tell us with wires dangling from the ceiling and other things that we see in the pictures that say that they're not going to be finished by the 21st, we then preserve our option to get that bar license. If everything is in place and they have one little thing and you can take the pictures, they're set up and ready to go, then we can give them the extension for the other 4 days.
Okay, I'll make that motion until, the next commission meeting then.
I have a motion by Commissioner Tui to extend to the commission meeting on the 21st of December 2021. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Orton. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chuck Wagon Cookouts in Kanab. Rob?
All right, so Chuckwagon is a limited restaurant license. They are connected to a gift shop, and then they have a Wild West production show that they open up for tour buses that come in. So they have a big banquet room where they have a buffet-style dinner. And so they are only open when the buses are running, and buses are not running right now due to COVID because all of those buses are for foreign travelers. So they are requesting a closure until the April commission meeting. They don't want to go for a seasonal license because seasonal license would start in May, and they said they usually do a lot of business in April. The owner should be on the line, Tom. Tom, are you there?
Star 6.
star six if you're there trying to talk. If not, staff does recommend approval for that.
Well, let me ask you a question, just so we have everything on the table. It's we have these limited licenses. We have some in the queue, right?
We have lots of limited.
All right, so we're not jeopardizing anybody's business here.
Correct.
Okay. And right. The other problem is, needless to say, this goes back to the pandemic issues of empathizing with them, and it doesn't appear it's getting any better. I mean, as you know, as of yesterday, certain countries in the southern part of Africa are in a embargo situation. All right, anybody, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve Chuck Wagon cookouts.
Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Orton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 18, Stephanie.
Yes, Snowbird is applying for a bar sub-license for their hotel license, and it'll be in the location of where they have met the statutory requirements, and staff recommends it.
Questions from staff?
I'm amazed at why the bar license doesn't count against our bar license quota. So hotel applicants can apply for a bar license
Yes.
that doesn't count against the quota.
Right.
So maybe we should have bar licensees open a hotel establishment.
You know what? I think you're onto something.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room,
Yeah.
120 rooms.
Yeah.
Free business advice, there you go.
But then we'll run out of hotel licenses.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. The next artificial quota. Okay, I'll make the motion that we approve, Snowbird for the additional sub-license.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Parrish. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to the operations update. Tiffany and Cade, you're on.
Great. I believe, sorry. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Great. I just have a quick thing to mention, and then I know Cade is going to cover something about supply chain. I want to just use this opportunity in the operations update to recognize and thank all of our staff. We just had the Thanksgiving holiday week, and we really had a robust, seamless delivery of customer service to all of our customers, individual folks, retail customers. I'm sure there were some hiccups and some bumps along the way. But I was in stores. I would say most of our administrative staff and management team were in stores helping out. And it was really great to see all of the teamwork from our store managers, all the way down to part-time entry-level employees at the stores, really just pulling together to be mission-oriented, to really, just execute for our customers that week. But really the thanks also goes across that whole chain in the delivery of service, from our purchasing team, who for months now has been working and preparing for the holiday season, especially knowing that we were going to have, product availability issues possibly because of supply chain issues. So again, all of our staff, not just our retail staff, but our purchasing team, the PLM team, down to our warehouse crew, all the way down to our retail stores, just wholehearted thank you from me and for the rest of the team for all of your hard work, overtime, and sacrifices last week. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Tiffany. I just want to also say thank you to all of our supply chain that took part in this. It was a great effort, and I appreciate you recognizing all of them. It does take quite a process. That process actually begins early in the year as we head toward this peak season. So grateful for our entire supply chain, and would like to include purchasing. Then it goes to merchandising, and then we've got this warehouse crew that's just done a tremendous job moving so many cases throughout the year. And then obviously down to our store team. And then I would hate to forget our accounting team on the back end helping us to pay for all that. But also want to thank our vendors. While we were out there working hard, ran into so many of them as well, out there helping us as partners in business, trying to keep the store afloat. I know our store employees had great plans put in place. Very impressed with Val Dunaway and her store staffing that she was trying to help accommodate. Our new Rover team out making it happen as well, which we're very excited about. It was just a great thing to see. There were a few bumps, and I want to talk about a few of those that are things that we've talked about in the past, but we continue to struggle when it comes to staffing and keeping our stores completely staffed. We do have a few that are fully staffed, but most of them are not. So we continue to fight that battle. And then also we do have supply chain issues that are out there as well. And I want to bring special attention to our website if I can, and just let everyone know there is a page on our website that you can go on our main page to products and then go down to supply chain shortages. This has been a great effort on our communications team to show the items that we are limiting or the reason why we're having shortages. So really grateful here for this complete list. As it goes down, there are a few others that we're working on making sure that they're allocated items. This is in rare occasions, we'll have items that have such popularity that we have to allocate the amount that we can sell at any one time. And so we're not only putting this on our website, we also have information at the store, signage up that our store employees are putting up so that it's very clear to the customer why there is a shortage on a particular item or a limit placed on a particular item. Again, this is all in an effort to share as much as we can with as many people as we can of these highly sought after items. Again, when we grow 14.81% in just 5 days, what I mean is in compared to the previous year, we grew almost 15% in those 5 days leading up to Thanksgiving, and our bottles were almost 9% of an increase there as well. And I'm very excited about those numbers, but they took a lot of hard work, and I'd really like for the team to be recognized for just going through all the things that they had to do in order to get there. We recognize that we've had a couple of stores during that time as well who had to close early due to staffing or other issues that may have occurred. And so even with some of those limitations, the overall growth was amazing and one that we're very proud of. So just want to say thanks to everyone who participated, especially those out in the stores, those in the warehouse, on our supply chain, and then also our admin staff for getting out there and trying their best to help. Is always appreciated. So great job, everyone. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Cade. Thank you. And I want to underscore, I'm sure all the other commissioners understand this too, and the public understands it, how diligently and effectively you've been working through this supply chain issue. And though it's obviously possible to go to a store and find that your favorite item is not available, I would just remind somebody to go across the street to the grocery store and see if you can get Gatorade Grape Zero. And I think that answers the question that everybody is suffering from the supply chain.
Commissioner, if I can, Commissioner,
Sure.
one more thing.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you saying zero sugar grape Gatorade, my favorite, by the way. It is difficult to find. It is difficult to find. I failed to mention, I think we should also thank our customers just because of their patience and kindness. I did see a lot of patient customers. They were very kind. They were understanding. They did the very best they could as they tried to get their favorite item that they were looking for. And I think they did a great job in their effort there. And then finally, I would just give another plug, if I can, for shop early. Try to go in, make those purchases as soon as you can. I think that'll help everybody enjoy the holidays just that much more. It's easier on the staff and easier on us too. So hopefully that can be done. and avoid some of those bigger shopping days. Those bigger shopping days include always the weekend before Christmas. So anytime on that Friday and Saturday, those are quite large. And then of course, during the week of between Christmas and New Year's is a very big shopping time. If you really like just being around people, that's okay too. We are glad to see you, but those are definitely increased times. And our biggest shopping hours usually are right around the 4 o'clock to 6 p.m. Sometimes creeping up into 7 p.m. Are typically the busiest times. And understandably so, but just want to make sure everybody understands that those will be the times the stores will be the busiest.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the commission? If not, let's go on to any comments from any commissioners and the public. Any commissioners, first of all, have any comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just, hearing Cade talk about, the staffing issues that some of our stores have experienced, want to again reiterate, we talked about this a bit in St. George, but I still see the need to be paying our retail employees more per hour, and I'm hopeful that we can continue to address that to not only help with the current staffing issues, but help with employee retention in the future. Thank you.
Okay. Else? What about members of the public? Any members of the public? Yes, Tanner.
Good afternoon now, Commissioners. I had a note that I made about conditional licenses. Just wanted to mention one point. Sometimes those were given by the legislature that long, why we can have conditional licensing without business licenses because of big companies coming in. It's also because some towns will not give a business license unless you guys have given the liquor license. I know Murray City does that, and St. George too. So there's just a lot of different reasons, one of many. Don't let the conditional ever scare you guys off, please. Thank you.
It doesn't, but sometimes there's a long list of things that have to.
Very true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other comments from the public? Yes?
I'm Michelle from the Salt Lake Area Restaurant Association. And I would just like to say one of the biggest obstacles that our owners have when it comes to trying to prevent their employees from serving underage drinkers is that although the owners get fined quite a bit, the employees don't. And in a market like this, we can all fire these employees that are lackadaisical, but they can get a job the next day. So I think that maybe this legislative session, we should look at raising what the fines are and the penalties are for the employees, moreover than the owners. I mean, they're doing the best they can, and they don't want to jeopardize their license ever, so.
Would you communicate that to legislators, please?
I shall.
Yeah.
I
The
shall.
commission actually sets the penalties, and they were raised a couple of years ago. Let me just point out the fact that in 16 years, I've never seen a licensee be charged criminally, but almost without exception, the employee who sells does get charged criminally, and that ends up usually on their record.
That's true, and I think money talks, and so I don't think that they're what do the fines cost? It's very
The fines,
minimal.
it's a misdemeanor, and it's entirely up to the judges that they see. Sometimes they'll get a plea in abeyance, and I've seen them go anywhere from $750 down to $300. But again, it's a situation where they go through the legal system, and they could end up with a criminal conviction that will keep them from being a manager or an owner of an alcohol establishment in the future.
Well,
so even though our penalties are smaller, they do have that extra step that they have to go through.
I understand that, but I also think I feel bad for Olive Garden. They're not a member of ours, but you have a huge establishment, and you can't find, the managers can't keep an eye on every single person. So I know our owners do the best they can, and it's difficult. So I don't know what more some of these people can do to do it. And I think having a really hefty fine and it reverberating around all the staff in different restaurants would make a big difference.
Well, I'm looking at, I'm not gonna mention any names, but I'm looking at some of our fines that were issued, and they are issued to employees. In some cases, in other cases, we have this line item that says handled as a separate matter, and I assume that what that means is you're dealing separately with the employee.
Yes, if the employee has, been fired, for example, and, we do try to make sure that they get handled, and we almost always check to make sure that the criminal cases are resolved, so that they don't get lost in that system either.
But are the fines in the hundreds compared to
Yes.
multi-thousand?
The lowest fine I see here on this chart is $200.
Yeah.
$200 is not gonna sting.
Well,
They're making $500.
is the highest that
Well,
they can be.
Commissioner
Right.
Parrish and I tipped that, you know, just
Yeah, I know. Well, I can tell you right now with the shortage of staff, I mean, people are walking home with $300, $400, $500 a night. So $200 is nothing. And it's not really a sting, and then they go to a different restaurant.
Now, a couple of years ago, we did talk about, evidently, before I was on the commission, the DABC used to put out a newsletter, and they would put the names of the employees who were, you know, and I guess that went by the wayside, maybe for legal reasons.
It was just discontinued. It was helpful, because quite honestly, the licensees would read the newsletter when it was published, and they would identify, employees or people who hadn't settled with the department and refer them to us. It was a very helpful system, and I think that it did have an impact. But, they did raise the penalty from $100 to $200 a couple of years ago. Certainly up to the commission what they want to do. And it is very, very, very rare to have an employee who is a second-time violator.
Are the permits, the alcohol serving permits being taken away on a regular basis?
From a server? No.
Perhaps this is an issue that the subcommittee could look a little further into. I'm actually interested, this is the first time that I'm hearing about it, and I would love to kind of hear from your expertise what a sufficient amount would be, and then also get some history on, you know, what happens. I think that would be, here, I'm not on that subcommittee, the compliance subcommittee that looks at it, but I would love to have, like,
Yeah,
to have
and
a bit more of a
also
discussion.
just to say, it's not our role as a commission to be telling the legislature, unless we're talking about bar licenses, what the
Yeah.
fine should be.
Yeah.
So I would say,
Do we set this, though? Is it
The penalties are set by the
oh,
commission.
never mind, it is our role. Excuse me. That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
Well, I think
Thank you
taking
for your comments, so.
Well, and taking away their permit to sell alcohol could alleviate it too, because if they cannot get it, and that is in the control of the state, so.
Appreciate
Well,
that.
thank you very much. We sure appreciate that information. All right, any other comments? If not, I will accept the motion to adjourn. Moved by Commissioner Parrish, is there a second? Second by Commissioner Orton, we're adjourned.
Good to see you.
Tom, thanks so much.
Take care. Thanks for your good sense of humor.
All right,
Made it.
ladies.
Yeah.
So what do we wear next month?
I know. Let's coordinate. It's all pretty.
Thanks, Nikki.
Red